Will this Gen Z and the Gen Alpha, can cost Modi dearly? Joining me this evening is senior journalist, author, and political commentator Saba Naqvi. Saba, thank you so much for joining. And what are your thoughts about this Gen Z and Gen Alpha movement, which is now seeping up to the village levels? What we were showing were the shots of a schoolgirl sitting with her entire class, and she's protesting about the teacher's absence. Is it really going down to that level where there is no coming back for Prime Minister Modi?
Thank you, Neelu, for having me, and hope this finds you well. I think it's been like a stock market crash. It's crashed. The stock market has just crashed. So what has happened? You lose faith in the product, or so that's happened to the Prime Minister. You started off with this question about Jiten Singh being hauled up by the Congress, Shri K.C. Venugopal, a minister inside the Prime Minister's office. So we all know that the Home Minister of India, obviously the police commissioner of Delhi, New Delhi, was changed a few days before the Parliament session began. I just want to go over a few sequence of facts, and then I want to move into the political realm. So we had a protest going on. It was a modest kind of a protest. There was no issue. You could go there. You took a bottle of You had to make sure your water was plastic. They would check your Aadhaar card. They would let you in. There was no issue. Suddenly, they decided to crack down, which proved to be so counterproductive to them. They suddenly decided to crack down, and they changed the police commissioner, and everything started to change. That decision was obviously taken by the Home Minister because he is in charge of all the police. He's in charge of so-called security. He's in charge of that. So I'm not even saying something wild out there. Logically, we presume if he's in office, which he is, then he took that decision. So why does Mr. Jitendra Singh have to become so active? There is one speculation that the Prime Minister asked him to step in to handle the mess that had been created. There's one. I mean, I'm just saying so. There is a speculation here. Why would Jitendra Singh be answerable, or he's the fall guy to protect the Home Minister? But I don't think that's possible. Clearly the Home Minister dialed a wrong number. That much should be clear. We should be able to say it. I'm not slogan. I'm taking a very sane. I'm not one of those journalists who wants to just sit there and I want to get the correct answer. To my view, the only way this whole thing built up is the Home Minister took a calculated risk that they could crush them. This would be crushed. This protest would be over. He made the protest much bigger than it is by doing that. So it was a miscalculation. And this is now, in my view, the biggest political slap on the face of the Narendra Modi government in the 12 years it's been in power. So in his third term, halfway through his third term, suddenly all the veneer has gone. That whole image is, the face cracks up. It's like the mirror cracks from side to side. It's all going. And I almost feel sympathy for the Prime Minister, in spite of being a big critic, that he is going on Instagram and making Insta reels. He's feeling so thing by it, obviously there is a feedback that something is going wrong.
But somehow, would you say that Prime Minister is scared, he feels intimidated, or he's feeling insecure that he could not appeal to the Gen Z, and which is why he thought of taking to Instagram?
No, I don't know about scared and all that. He has been a phenomenally successful politician. Let's not take that away. He ruled Gujarat for 15 years. He's been Prime Minister of India for the third term. So I would not put fear into those categories. But I'm saying even when a big leader, when a big successful politician, when you confront something like this, when your whole image cracks up, it just sort of collapses. So I have no idea how he's feeling inside, but it cannot be good. And this comes as a follow-up to a series of things that have happened in the world, which have also taken away the Vishwa Guru element of things from India. That's world affairs. I won't go there because that's another complicated sequence of events. You cannot repeat. In today's world, You cannot have a short duration conflict with Pakistan and think that you can play a national card here. What happened in Pulwama, Balakot, after a terror strike on India, there was a short, we said we struck Pakistan in 2019 elections. It changed the whole equation. Right now, you can't do that with Pakistan. You want to know the world, Pakistan was navigating with the Americans and the Iranians. You can't do that. That's out, right? China is also sitting there, the big emerging power in the world. So that solution is no longer yours. That solution key, we will have a war, and we will, that's actually gone out of the basket. So what do you have then? You have to give real growth, you have to do real which is very challenging, and you have to then keep up with Hindu versus Muslim, which is again being attempted, which is right now the laboratory is very much gone into Bengal. Abhi Bengal say they're trying that, huh? You have to do, but there are spaces, but this movement has also challenged that stereotype. You know, you were supposed to make people feel guilty for showing any Muslims. A few Muslims landed up at the protest, and it was presumed that they will be abandoned. They were not abandoned. Even the CJP people stood by them, those who were feeding. It was said they'll be abandoned or that Muslims are an embarrassment, they must not be talked about because in mainstream Hindu society will not come with you. So where they are trying to get the CJP to take a position, what I think is a long-term RSS plan, is that I think they're going to ask them about reservation. So the idea being that this whole millions of people who follow Abhijit Dipke, who is a Dalit, and I'm sure that's a factor in what has happened, they want him to fall into a trap about reservation. So if he says he's pro-reservation, which he cannot, which anybody who wants a long-term future in India has to be say they're pro-reservation, but they presume that all the upper caste people will go away. That's the thinking there, right? So they want him to take a position on reservation, which I don't think he should. I think he should stay out of caste. He should stay out of these kind of issues. It should be about education.
No, but he hasn't spoken anything. Abhijit Dipke, as far as I remember, hasn't spoken anything about
the
right.
fault line. I have information. Yeah. I'm giving you my information, and even they expect that to be the thing. You know, it's coming out of the nature of the protests that took place in Bihar. Also struck them. Though a lot of that energy also came from the role of Aisa. Please remember that in Bihar is where the Malay is very strong, CPI-ML, and there Aisa Lord put up a grand show over here. So the Bihar protests were actually in different places. The protests have had different quality of, different institutional complaints over there. So this is what they're going to do over time. They're going to try and create a precedent that people feel afraid to insult Prime Minister by making a few FIR, the rest. I don't know whether they'll push back also on that. But if you notice the kind of capacity people are having
in fact, it's just not about students, Saba. Now I read somewhere that there is an FIR against the Meta chief. I mean, to that level, the government has gone. What does one say to that?
I mean, I don't know about it, but I'm sure the Meta chief will be very well taken care of. Nothing will happen to big guys. Always get away in you. Let's face it. You know, big corporations, anything. Nothing will happen. It will be the small guy who will be made an example of. And this is a very, very big political the biggest that we've confronted. Now the catch here is that's one aspect of it. What comes ahead? You're going to look at the situation in Parliament. Look at the situation in Parliament. You have the members of Parliament suddenly as if they're liberated, and they're doing a skit on the Ram Mandir Chori. You know, so on the Ram Mandir Andolan, they're doing a skit over there. I have seen some media voices saying, oh, this is in bad taste. Why is it in bad taste? It's getting attention, you know, and this is from the land of Awadh, these voices. Awadh, may people talk like that. One of my most hilarious experiences in this protest is I had gone into the crowd after it became big. And so, who are you? Who are you? You know, what are you? Where are you from? There was this group of people who were from UP. And I said, "Aap kahan ke hain?" And he gave he got so excited and all that. Hindu guy, huh? He had come, taken a train to the protest, Uttar Pradesh se, and it's not very far from Ayodhya. Ayodhya is like 100 kilometers away. It's all Awadh, huh? So the way they talk, I cannot repeat it to you, Neelu, but I was in splits. The way they combine mandir ki chori to this, to वो जो देहाती जो तरीका होता है बात करने का, it is not appropriate to say those things that they say about a prime minister and all that, and all that. But it was hilarious kind of a take. So from that, that is also how people in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar relate to things. Also, they make jokes about the predicaments in which they find themselves in the various dialects of these states. So I find it a bit ironical that some people should find it tasteless that members of parliament, including Avdesh Prasad, who defeated the Bharatiya Janata Party in Ayodhya, is doing something distasteful by being part of a skit on this. But chalo, but at least it's got us talking. It's got a conversation point. Did you ever see that skit of Mahmood of Ghazni coming in? वो आ रहा है नहीं नहीं वापस चलो.
Yeah.